All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Wealth Mindset and Real Estate Investing Virtual Meetup. My name is Chris Price. I'm the host of this meetup. I'm also managing partner at Boost Capital Group, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Red Fox Multifamily. So I'm super excited for tonight's presentation. But before we get into that, I'm going to do a few introductions, and then I will turn it over to our guest speaker this evening. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about the Wealth Mindset and Real Estate Investing Meetup. So the Wealth Mindset and Real Estate Investing Meetup is open to all who are interested in growing generational wealth through passive real estate investing and increasing their financial intelligence. This meetup is for the busy professionals and retirees across various industries. The individuals in the group make a good living and have discretionary income to invest in real estate for its proven wealth building power, but don't have the time, skill set, or network to do it at speed and scale. This meetup focuses on helping us all grow our wealth mindset by learning how to build and preserve wealth while developing and maintaining an abundance mindset. This meetup will focus on multifamily real estate investing as well as other proven ways to build wealth through real estate through passive investments. Now let's talk a little bit about our sponsors. So this meetup is sponsored by Red Fox Multifamily. Red Fox Multifamily helps pharmaceutical and life science industry professionals diversify their portfolios, add passive income, and get all the other perks of real estate investing without having to do any of the work themselves. Red Fox Multifamily partners with passive investors to buy commercial multifamily real estate based on vetted opportunities we get access to from our trusted network of top operators in the best markets throughout the country. Partnering with Red Fox Multifamily makes investing in real estate completely hands-off, allowing investors to add passive income, build equity, and save on taxes, all while being in an investment vehicle that is backed by a hard asset. And our other sponsor is Boost Capital Group. Boost Capital Group's vision is to become the premier partner for busy professionals and entrepreneurs seeking to build and preserve their wealth through passive real estate investments. And as always, for those of you who've joined before or who are catching me for the first time, I love to connect with people. Reach out to me. My email's on the screen, chris@boostmycapital.com, or you can scan the QR code and get all of my contact information on social media and the like. So please reach out to me, and I'd love to learn a little bit more about you and what you're up to. So our agenda for this evening will be, I'll introduce our speaker here momentarily. Our speaker will go into a presentation, and then we'll have maybe a little bit of time for Q&A and virtual networking, and we'll wrap things up. But without further ado, if you can, mute your lines when you're not speaking. Hold your questions to the end. It will be recorded. For those of you who are watching live, you'll be able to also have access to the recording. And for those of you who are tuning in afterwards, you'll be able to watch the recording on our YouTube channel. This material does not constitute an offer or a solicitation to purchase securities, and this is information only and should not be construed as business, financial, or legal advice. So now, without further, let me introduce our speaker this evening. So Devin Robinson. So I had a chance to meet Devin a few years ago in Louisville, Kentucky, which that was my first time in Louisville, Kentucky. And we were at a real estate conference, really well done. And we were at a networking event afterwards. And, I'm walking, these are sort of my, one of my first big real estate conferences that I attended. And I see this gentleman that I caught eyes, and we started, just chatting it up there. And the number of connections were really interesting, the God-fearing person, but also what was interesting, went to UNC Greensboro. And I, am originally from Greensboro, North Carolina. And my parents went there, Greensboro, very well. I have some property, and we just started chatting it up. And we've been connected over the years. He's an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur with many different businesses, a VA service that I've used, a whole host of things that people can have that opportunity to tap into. He's added value and contributed in so many different ways. He and his wife do a lot of fantastic things. And that's just my own sort of personal reflection. But let me read to you what Devin's about on the screen. So he's going to talk to us about raising smart, using AI and technology to raise capital. And let me tell you a little bit about Devin. So Devin is the founder of Fund Founders and Fund Flow OS, where he helps aspiring fund managers launch, raise capital, and scale investment funds in confident way, which is really critically important in this space. He's also the principal of PF Capital, a distressed real estate fund, and host of the Funds on Fire podcast, which I've had the pleasure of being a guest on. With a background in wholesaling, creative finance, and capital raising, Devin is on a mission to diversify Wall Street and prove that the world equally distributes talent, but it doesn't equally distribute opportunity. He and his wife have adopted 3 children from foster care and are passionate about transforming that system. So without further ado, Devin Robinson.
Hey, thank you so much for that, man. I really, really appreciate you. And I love interaction. I know mics are muted, kids are like dinner time, kids are getting to bed, they're taking baths, all these things. So I understand if everybody can't talk, and that's totally fine. I will talk to your AirPods if you have those in. But I also would love any sort of something in the chat, mute yourself at any point, totally fine with that. Because my main goal today, what we'll talk about is, one, I want to share like what is possible. Right now, AI is the thing. Everybody's all into AI and they're like, oh my gosh, AI, oh, open agents, all these things. And so I want to make sure that my main premise of like what I do, why I teach this stuff, because I really do truly believe AI is not going to be the thing that takes people's jobs. It's going to be people utilizing and fully using AI. So if you guys could be able to be like 1% better or learn 1% more today, that helps you to get to a point where you can be able to understand how to use artificial intelligence to improve on whatever you do, whether that's investing or raising capital and managing your fund or doing things like that. I want to be helpful for that because I think that this is a very, very interesting day and age. And everybody always talks about, I see these things on Facebook all the time where it's like, what would you go back and tell your 18-year-old self? I'm like, buy more Bitcoin, right? And I think we're at that phase right now with AI of like, in 10 years, we're going to go, what would you go back and tell yourself 10 years ago? And it would have been like, learn how to leverage AI. And so I want to make sure that I can be able to be helpful for you in order to do that and to understand it just a little bit more. So I do want to share, if you guys have questions or need anything, so happy to do that. So let's see, I'm going to share my screen if that's okay with you. All right, you can see I have tabs up. Okay, so I do want to talk about how technology raises more capital than hustle ever will. I also want to like, if you are in a place where you are like, I'm not raising capital, I want to figure out how to deploy my capital or find good investments or things like that. I'm going to do my best to contextualize this to that as well, just so we have both audiences. So Fund Founders is something that I have. If somebody wants to launch an investment fund, we your docs for you, do weekly teachings, and you have a course to walk through to help you to understand how to launch your fund, scale it, and raise capital for it. Fund Flow, talk about that a little bit. That is my baby. That is something that I think is going to change the world in this, but it's a fully autonomous way of raising capital. It's a CRM for an agent that completely goes and raises capital for you. And then also a way to manage your investors with distributions and all that stuff. So it's really cool. So, and then Funds on Fire is my podcast. And this is the reason why I do what I do. So there's $82 trillion of assets under management in the United States, and only 1.4% of that is managed by minorities and women. So that means that 98.6% of all money, all assets under management, money invested into America is managed by white men. And so I think that the world equally distributes talent, but doesn't equally distribute opportunity. There's a lot of people more talented than I am that don't have the opportunity. And I think about my kids who are foster children. So we fostered them and adopted them through the foster care system. And it's really cool because I'll be in front of a house and then my daughter would go, oh, Daddy, are we buying that house today? And it's so cool that we all have the ability to be able to change the lineage, change the direction that our kids go in and all of those things just by what we learn in rooms like this and the way that we're proactive and the way that we invest money. So it's really cool that we sit in a really sweet spot to be able to impact the legacy. My kids, they get to go to closings with me. They're at the attorney's offices and watch me sign documents to buy houses. Like for me, I grew up in LA, single mom. I say a true triple double mom, 3 jobs, 2 kids, worked really, really hard, but didn't leave money, didn't leave houses, didn't leave those things. And for me, it was like, oh my gosh, you own a house? That's crazy. And my kids now, they're like, oh yeah, like, of course, and so it's really cool to be able to change the legacy of our kids. When it comes to capital raising, one of the things that we don't think capital raising is a investor relations business. I got these spreadsheets and I'm monitoring these relationships, which is great, but customer support. Investor relations is very similar to that. And it's so important when it comes to keeping investors and making sure that investors feel really comfortable to invest with us. Or if you are an investor, you want to be with the GP or with a sponsor, really communicative, sending out good quality reports, making you feel like you're a part of the process. And I call it experiential investing, not just like, hey, here's my money and I'll see you in however long, but it's like, how do I learn more about this? Or how do I be a part of this? How do I get involved in this? Or yeah, sure, take my money and I just like to see the bank account go up. The 80% of limited partners reinvest based on transparency and proactive communication, not just returns alone. Sorry, a big dog. Not just returns alone. So it's not just the returns that make investors come back, but it's transparency. So for you all that are invested with people, you care more about the transparency, because if you have good returns, you're like, oh, that was nice, but I feel like I didn't know what the heck was going on. It was nice that I had money. I was unsure. And so that's what makes people come back the most. And what's also really interesting is 80% of investments require five or more follow-ups. If you're raising capital, one of the biggest things that you run into is you'll have a conversation with somebody, or you have somebody in your system, and then you forget to follow up with them. You forget, oh my gosh, that person slipped through the cracks. Or, man, what did that person say that they are interested in investing into? Because your CRM doesn't support that type of information, or like you just forgot. And so it's really important to continue to follow up with people. They say the fortune is in the follow-up. And so if you can keep following up with people, that helps us to build that trust factor. That then is what leads people to actually invest with you. And that takes follow-up. People who have money to invest are typically very busy people. And so that requires follow-up, and it's really important. And so
I can attest to that 100%, echo everything that you're saying there.
Yeah, thank you so much. But the good thing about it is if you communicate well to them, then returning investors deploy capital 50 to 70% faster than the first time they invested. And you could probably attest to this. If you give them a good return, they're like, yes, take my money. And typically it's almost double the initial amount, because a lot of people want to go, I'm going to get my feet wet. I'm going to figure out if this actually is good. I want to put a little bit in first, see if it works, and then I'll put a lot more in next. And so then that's what happens typically. And so we want to make sure that they have a great experience the first time they invest with you. And so build systems around that. I'm going to get to the AI part in just a second, but I think I wanted to set the stage of how important it is to have the follow-up, because most people lose investors, not by bad deals, but bad communications. 60% of LPs stop investing due to poor, inconsistent updates, no matter how good the deals are. Okay, so here's a couple things. First of all, this is such a cool platform, Gamma. It allows you to put like these little videos in here. I don't know, do you use Gamma?
Yeah, I've used Gamma.
It's cool. I love it.
Sponsored by Gamma.
No, definitely not sponsored by Gamma. It's a crazy company. I think they're at like a $10 billion valuation now. They grew very, very fast. Okay, so whenever you guys are having meetings, and this is very, very good, whether you are investing into a deal, or if you are an investor looking to raise capital, a couple things that I would really suggest is mixing things like Fathom. So anytime you have a call, have the call recording. There's Fathom, there's Otter, there's Firefly, there's all types of recording systems. Make sure that you have one of those AI recordings on a meeting with you. But for the most part, if you're meeting with a potential investor and they've got something going on, I would always have one of these in the meeting with you, because then what you can end up doing, I have ChatGPT here, but if you're using ChatGPT has almost become like Windex, right? Like Windex is just a brand, but we're like, oh, Windex to Windows, or Kleenex. I need a Kleenex, but really I need a tissue. And it's because they were first to market. They grew so fast. They became a household name. That's what people just like associate AI with. I probably haven't used it in like 3 months. I probably will not go back to it, because ChatGPT, I would actually, if I were you, I would switch to, if you are using AI and you find yourself using AI regularly, if you switch to Claude, you will notice a night and day difference, the output that you get. It is not even comparable. Claude is so far ahead that you will notice a very tangible difference just by switching models. So Claude is by far the best, not even close. Gemini is very good for certain things. So just to give a very 0 to 1 here, I use different AI for different use cases. Claude, everyday use, they're so good. They are pulling away. So I use Claude way more. Because
What about Copilot? What's your thought on Copilot?
Okay, Copilot is, here's the hard part, because it's Microsoft. Microsoft has Copilot, and Microsoft forces things on you because they are such an everyday for what it is. It's crazy. Different use cases. Copilot's nice because it integrates with a lot of your things, your sheets, your Word. And so I would say if you start using Claude, it will change everything for you. When I'm doing, if I have to make any images, I use something like Gemini. And then if I'm doing any type of deep research, I'm doing Gemini. Gemini tested better than everything else. Gemini is very good. That's really what I stick to. If you want to pay for a service and you do a lot of research, Perplexity would be the best thing that you could do because all of the different models, and it will use the best model for the thing you're looking for. So if I could, it's going to be very good for a lot of research if you're research heavy in what you do. And then Claude is going to be very good every day. Gemini is good because if you got a Google account, it's free. And then even on top of that, I want to share something really, 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 really fun.
You are.
Perfect. So let's say for me, we are building we're building in Charlotte. We're building 17 units on this area. And so what I went and I did was I went in and I asked Gemini, I said, hey, Gemini, I have this land, right? We have this land that we're building on. Tell me a little bit about this land. It goes in and it tells me the zoning of this land. And then it goes in and tells me what I'm able to build on this land. It tells me what I'm able to build on this land, the zoning designation. And then, all I did was I told it the address. It goes in, it finds all this stuff. It goes in and it looks up the county records for all of this stuff. And then it tells me exactly all I did was go, hey, here's a screenshot. This is what the lots look like. And then it was like, okay, cool. From that map, this is what I see here. Here's the zoning. And then I was like, here is each of the acreage. Here's a screenshot of this lot and each of their acreages. What can I build? And then it tells me, okay, here's the lot. So a total of 1.12 acres. Here's the distance. The math is 48,000 square feet. And then I said, okay, nice. What type of, first of all, I said, how would you run comps? I did upload some stuff here, but then I said, how much square feet can those houses be with the zoning? And he's like, short answer, 1,300 to 1,600, because we'd have to squeeze it in here. Here's 50 feet, 12 and a half feet per unit, which is cool. So like, bear with me. Because then here's what I did. I said, this is really cool. I go, hey, can you give me some plans that fit the specs for that land? And then it goes, all right, here's the plans I found. And I'm lazy, guys. I said, you know what? Hey, can you just give me the links to those plans? And so then it sent me the links to the plans. And so it says, here's one, here's another one, and then here's another one. And then it goes, my recommendation for you is this one right here, 34-foot wide modern stack. Widen the footprint from 34 to 50, use the extra width to expand the living room, all that stuff. And then I said, great. And then what I did was I went in and I added more things. And then I took this information and I put it into a thing called NotebookLM. Has anybody ever heard of NotebookLM? Good. I'm glad you have. NotebookLM is incredible. But I took that information, I put it in here, and I actually, let me find this real quick. Let me see which one it is. Because I have a couple here. Okay, cool. Is this the one? No. Yeah, I think this is the one. Okay, cool. So then I took that information, put it in here, put the pictures of the houses in, and then it created this pitch deck for me based on those things. So then now I have a pitch deck. Sorry, excuse me. But yeah, so now I have a pitch deck with the information of how much we're getting the land for. This is the exact pictures in here. I didn't even have to change these pictures. All I did was upload these pictures and it put them in here into this deck for me, which is really cool. And hold on, Leo. It put those pictures in here for me. And then I said, how much do I need to raise? I put a calculator in there and then it did all of that stuff for me, which is so cool. So I use Gemini and NotebookLM to be able to build out a deck, tell me exactly what to do with this land, tell me the plans that I should use, and then able to send that out. So it's so cool to be able to streamline the process of going from 0 to 1. You don't have to pay a ton of money to get a really nice deck. It created it. So that's Google Gemini, because Gemini does a fantastic job at deep research, and then put it into something like this. And it's so cool because, and I don't know if you've ever had this before or tried this out, but I have my software, and in my software, I uploaded a document of like our knowledge base, and then I had it create a podcast. Have you ever heard it, Chris, do the podcast feature?
No, I haven't.
Oh my gosh. Can you hear this? Hold on. Oh, come on.
No, we can't hear when you share. We would have to share the audio. Also.
Oh, here it goes. Share sound. Okay, let me see. Share sound. I don't know if I'm sharing. Let me try one more time, because I really want you guys to hear this, because this is incredible. So all this to say, like, let's say some of you, and Chris, I know you, pharmaceutical, right? You're in pharmaceuticals.
That's right.
You probably get a lot of research papers and PDFs and things like that. It's so what you could 100% do. Okay, include sound. Here we go. So one of the things that I don't think I can share my sound. Oh, go to your device settings, select. Okay. I really want to do this. So give me a second. I'm going to drag this over here for just a second. So I have this device settings, audio settings. Okay, let's see. It's on system. It's the one that told me to do it on. Oh, okay. Share. Go to your device audio settings. Select. Okay, I don't think I'm going to be able to share it. Darn, that sucks, because it's really cool. So, man, I really want you to hear it. So it's an incredible. What it does is it ends up creating a 2-person podcast based on the information from the PDF. All I did was upload my knowledge base for my software, and then it went in and had a 2-person podcast that is incredible. Like, everybody hears it and they always go, "Wow, that's awesome." So something for you, if you have like a lot of information that you have to read or listen to, just throw it in there and it will create a 2-person podcast for it that will blow you away. So something to kind of think through as you guys are building and growing and listening to things. It is incredible. So and then you can actually call in. So it's interactive. So I can actually pick up my phone, call into it. So right here, like, I can join this and it will answer my questions based on the knowledge base. Like, it's wild. It is so cool. So I would 100% suggest doing that. And then, okay, so I know we have like somewhat limited time. So with that, one of the things, as I was thinking, so when you have these meetings with people, and you are creating, and you get like the transcript from these people, like from the meetings you go on or the meetings you're having with potential investors, take that, put that into Claude, not ChatGPT. And then here's what you should do. Like, I want to give you guys straight up action right here. So after every investor call or meeting, paste your rough notes into an AI assistant, Claude, using a specific prompt. Act as my investor relations assistant, summarize this conversation, and extract what matters most to this investor, their risk concerns, their timeline, what would make them say yes, when and how I should follow up. Here are my raw notes. Paste those notes in, or the transcript, and it will output something very, very good for you. And then the second thing you should do is generate follow-ups. Now, Claude is taking this another level, where they have Claude Cowork, where I can build out a skill that goes, hey, every 90 days, like, create a 90-day follow-up plan for this investor. No selling, tone, calm, professional human, goal, stay top of mind, and build trust. And it will go and do that for you. For instance, I have it go and DM people on LinkedIn and Facebook for me. It goes in and it does it. And then it gives me a full report on all the people that it DM'd. And it's so cool. It does it for me because it keeps track of those people. So then I'm able to do that. Never forget investor. Every follow-up feels personal. Timing works in your favor, and consistency beats charisma. In the same way, if you are an investor and you're in one of these meetings, go act as my financial advisor. Summarize this investment. What matters to that person? What are the risks of this investment? What is their timeline? Does this investment actually make sense? And then knowing me and my financial situation, would you suggest this investment for me? So certain things like that you can use, just flip it. And then you have something like create clarity and update engine. So mix this with something like Gamma. So the problem for me, I over-explain. Investors understand, and fear shows up. When you confuse, you lose. And so what you could do here is clarify your deal. Paste your deal explanation. If you have a deal, paste it or upload your pitch deck into Claude. And then say, rewrite this explanation for a smart investor with no real estate background. Remove jargon, explain risks clearly, explain how those risks are managed, end with clear next steps. And then, so like you could do that to clarify your deal. Another one, practice investor questions. Act as a skeptical investor. Ask me the hardest questions you would before investing into this deal specifically. And then investor updates. For our bullet points, turn this into a clear investor update. Be transparent, address delays directly, explain what's happening next. Tone, calm, steady, confident. So really, really cool way, because if you can build awareness for the flywheel goals, if you build awareness for what you have, attention is the number one currency we have. If you could have the best deal in the world, but if nobody finds out about it, the deal never gets funded and it never gets done. So create awareness, have the follow-up, build trust, then people invest, keep them updated, they reinvest. That's how simple it is. Communicate well, they reinvest. Even if your deal goes south and you communicated well, they still invest again because they trust you. And they know that at the end of the day, you have their interest at mind and their money at mind. And you did everything you can. You had a fiduciary responsibility and you did everything you could to make sure the deal went well. And for one way or another, reason or another, it didn't. Now, if you are like raising capital and you're managing investors and you're using things like spreadsheets, I always say using spreadsheets to manage investors is like driving an Uber with a paper map. It's like people have invested hundreds of thousands of dollars with you, $50,000 with you, and you're using a spreadsheet. I think that like your formulas like are imperfect. I think the statistic was like 70% of formulas in spreadsheets are actually inaccurate. Not because like we're dumb or even the spreadsheet is dumb. I think like, but there's human error. There's what's called human in the loop. And because there's that human in the loop, there tends to be errors. And so that's why. So, and then one of the things for us, so and this is like a small thing. I know we're kind of running low on time. I built something called well, cool. I know it's like 45 minutes, 8 o'clock. I want to make sure I honor people's times. I built something called Fund Flow, where we are a fully agentic, and I'm not in fully SEC compliant with SEC compliant guardrails to your messages. But really our goal was to go, hey, you could put your deal in. So I'm going to share this from two sides because we have an investor side. So we have an investor portal, and then the investor can go in, and if an investor, let's say, wants to invest into other things, we're building a marketplace where they can go in and look at a public marketplace of deals, and deals smart match to your preferences and the things that you like. And then like you'll get notified when somebody puts a deal up that fits what you like. And you can explore that investor or that sponsor, some of the things that they've done in the past, and even just like their personalities and what they do. So it's really cool. But our goal is for you to be able to put a deal up in your system, and your system goes through all of your contacts and raises capital for you in a very compliant way, where if you're a 506B, it monitors substantive relationships. And so like it tracks that stuff. It pulls in social media information. And then this is really cool because Chris saw this a while ago, and Chris, like, we actually have a database of private lenders who are actively lending money. Not like they are actively lending money according to county documents. We have a whole database full of them that you could pull that data and information and begin marketing to them. So it's very cool. And then we have all the things. Oh man, this is like old. This is crazy. I'll actually show you, Chris. Let's see. Oh, I don't have it up here. So, very cool in that, like, there's an investor portal, there's all these things, but we also, Chris, we build out like pitch decks now. We have pitch deck builder, landing page builder, all with AI so that you could just share those landing pages for your deals. We actually have what's called 7-day syndications, where we will do a syndication for you, your docs, your PPM, your operating agreement, subscription agreement. Typically that'll cost $10,000 to $15,000 just for the docs and take like 2 months. We do it for $6,500 in under 7 days, approved by an actual SEC or reviewed by an actual SEC attorney. So it's very, very cool. And so we do all types of stuff. And this is one of my favorite things, the AI. It actually is one of those AIs that like it trains. It's not like, oh, we're autonomous and sends 12,000 emails the next day. It's one of those things where you could train it with your knowledge base, train it with your deals, and then it actually grows as you approve and as you do things. But like I can come over here and if I have a deal, because I can share my deals and it tracks your loans with your investors. It does distributions. And then even if you do single flips or anything like that, it tracks that. But I can come over here to the AI and say things like, let's see, I can say, who are my best investors for the Flatiron building deal, and email them to and tell them about it. So the AI is going to literally go in and it's going to tell me, pull from my list, tell me who's the best investor based on their preferences, what they like to invest in, what they like to do. Oh, give me a quick second. What they like to invest in, what they like to do, and then it's going to actually create an email to send out to them. Give me a second. So it's very, very cool. Let me see. Ooh, I don't know what happened there. Building deal. So if I pull that up, it's a really cool thing that helps me to, see it's analyzing it. Then it's going to go through the search. It's going to tell me exactly who they are. And then like, boom, here's Joy. He's the best one. Great. Send an email inviting him to it. So then now it's going to go ahead and just straight up create the email, tell him about it, put together this plan. We're going to execute this plan and it's going to send that email straight to him. It is very cool, and invite him. And then he's going to see it in his opportunities, and it's awesome. So we have it's a really cool system for raising capital and kind of going through all that stuff. So very cool. One of the big things for us is we wanted to make sure that for flippers and builders specifically, because there's a lot of flippers and builders that are raising capital, this starts out for free. Like this is free for you to put investors in here, put your deals in. If you are an investor that is looking for deals, you can come in and it's completely free for you. If you if you are an LP, you come in, you make a profile. We don't have the marketplace public just yet, but when we do, you could be able to look at deals that are public on the marketplace, see if any of those fit anything that you would like. So it's completely free to sign up if you are an actual investor. If you have deals, it's free for your first 100 contacts and 2 deals. So just to get in here, get your feet wet and learn and see what it looks like to have a deal, and with your investors, who are the people that smart match? Why did they smart match for your deal? Kanye and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson match for this deal because they've funded deals similar to this. This is their check size, and this is all based on, in the context, it's all based on their preferences. So it's very, very cool, really cool way to be able to manage investors, and free to get started, and then scales with you as you grow. So very cool way. That's like the 2 cents. That's the only thing I'll talk about with that. But does anybody have questions on AI specifically? Because I love AI. I do if you could think of AI, I'd probably do it. I automate everything from every morning. Let me see. I want to see if I can pull this up and show you guys with my, okay, cool. Here's actually one right here. Every morning I get this daily briefing from Claude Cowork. It goes through and it goes through all my tasks. It goes through my email. It goes through a lot of things that said, look at this. The one big thing, if you do nothing else today, do this. Crush the meeting presentation tonight. Raise smart. That's this right now, right? So it gave me this. It gave me my top 5 today, prep delivery for my presentation today, team meeting. I had another one earlier today at 2, which actually got rescheduled. Send 5 podcast guest pitch drafts. Actually, it did this for me. It actually went in and emailed these people for me to be on other people's podcasts, and emailed or sent a couple LinkedIn things, send partner outreach emails. It sent those for me. And then send Dan a loom for this. And then it says, here's an episode idea for today because I have a podcast and YouTube channel. Here's one. Vibe coding is dead. Agentic engineering is the new moat, the hook. So everybody wants to talk about vibe coding last year. Just tell the AI what you want and it'll build it. And so it gave me these things. Revenue. So I have it hooked up to my Stripe for our software. Here's my meetings for today on my calendar. Here's the tasks on my Motion. And then here are things that are overdue. And then it tells me even more things if I want to create any singular content. Here's a cool one. Agentic engineering, replacing vibe code, 15 to 30 second reel on that. And then even some leads. So these people actually leads in my LinkedIn, podcast pipeline. Like it gives, and then here's some world news briefing. Private credit is 37% of new capital. OpenAI launched GPT 5.4. Fed held rates at 3.5 to 7 to 3.75. 30-year mortgages at 6.4, and then crypto. And so that is it gives me this every single morning. I wake up,
Brilliant.
it's there. So
this is incredible. And this is Claude. You use a version of Claude, and this goes through this does this for you?
Yeah, so give me a second. So let me show you. So I use Claude Cowork. So you have to have the desktop version for this. So give me a second. Okay, cool. So here's what my Claude looks like. So if you use the desktop, it looks a little bit different. So you've got chat and you have different projects, right? So I have Fund Flow, me personal, social media content, PF Capital, Fund Founders, PFP Solutions. So like these different things. And then like I can come in here and then it houses things like post call emails, my knowledge base, all that stuff. And then you have Claude Code and Claude Cowork. Claude Code does really amazing things. This is the best way to code right now. If you are a coder, there's nothing close, really nothing close to Claude Code. It is incredible what it can create. I can show you some crazy things that I've built on it.
And while you're doing that, there's a question that came in the chat, and the question is the app called Fund Flow?
Yes, Fund Flow OS. So it's fundflowos.com. And yeah, fundflowos.com. And if you share your name or anything like that, I'll put a code. If you want to sign up, I'll put a code to give you guys, especially since you're part of this community. I'll send it out with Chris, or if you just DM me, I'll give you a code for 50% off your first 3 months. So then you can get used to it. We'll onboard you for free, all that stuff. I want to make sure that you guys can get in a system. I'll give it to Chris after this so he can give it to everybody else. But if you're on here, I haven't set it up yet, so just let me know. But yes, it's called fundflowos.com. So you'll see that. But so here's really cool. So this is Claude Cowork. Cowork is getting better and better. And this is where it actually goes out and does things for you. So here's one for like setting up my morning briefing. What happens, you can connect it to a bunch of different things. It works on like your computers. So I have a whole different computer right here that is just my agent's computer. Nothing else on it. I don't have anything on this computer except for Chrome and like Claude. And what happens is it goes in and that is its computer to do whatever it wants. I don't care. And it can actually use your computer and everything that's on your computer. And Claude is the most enterprise safe one there is. I did it with OpenClaw, not very safe at all. You don't want to give it your personal things. That's all the crazy stuff you were hearing where like it was going and deleting things and doing all that stuff. OpenClaw, not safe. But I had it and I gave it its own computer. But now I just use Claude Cowork. So Claude Cowork, you'll come in here and you create what's called skills. And on those skills are essentially SOPs for Claude. Claude follows the SOPs every single day, what it's supposed to do. And so then like I have things where like, this is very cool. This skill is incredible. All I said was use this property due diligence skill that I have on this house right here. Look at the output of this. I'm going to show you guys this really quickly. Look at the PDF report it came up with. It went in and it scraped county data. It went in and it did, give me a second. I'm going to see if I can pull this up. Where is this? It went in, scraped county data. Yes, here we go. All I did, this skill right here, I trained it. I gave it an SOP to follow, did all that stuff. It scraped county data. It went in and it pulled comps. It did all that stuff for me. I wonder if there's a timeline on this, if it shows. It maybe took like 5 minutes. And I'm going to show you guys what the output of this was, just so you can see how powerful this is. Okay, so this is it. It came up with this, which is wild. So you can see here, it gave me just about everything I need. Here's the zoning. Here's the deed. Here's the market value of it. Here's what it last sold for. Here are the comps. And all of the comps are within 2026, 2026, 2026, 2026. So these comps are very new comps in that same neighborhood. So here's the value of this house. here's the exit strategy. And even the offer that you make if you're going to wholesale it. What's that offer? Here's the rental analysis of this. So we think it can make this much, but honestly, this is going to be your mortgage if you get at this 7% interest rate with taxes and insurance. This is what it's going to be. Cash flow, negative. Don't do it. Verdict, not a hold. So bottom line, property, just add this to the watch list. Don't even worry about it. So it put this together for me in less than 5 minutes. Not even joking.
Wow.
How many things that AI can go and do for you? You just have to train it and teach it how to do it. But the more you play with it, the more you learn, the more you understand it. I'm happy to be as helpful as I can. If somebody wants to reach out, there's so much you could do to leverage it. We leverage AI to raise capital and manage our investors. And that's what we built FundFlow for. But there's a lot of other ways you could do it to make your life easier, especially if you have a W-2. I would use AI to come up with really cool ways to do things that my boss hadn't thought about and just present those things. Commercialize, it's so easy. Guys, but let me show you something that I did the other day. I built a website so a guy, he's bringing his fund over and he asked, hey, like, do you guys create websites? And I was like, yeah, of course. But I was like, yeah, of course I can create a website. That's easy because I know how to use Claude code and I know what AI could do. Look at this website I built for him. Look at this website. It's insane. So his fund specifically caters to pilots.
I know this guy who you're talking about.
Oh, Chandler?
Yes.
Nice. How awesome is that?
That's incredible. Yeah, that's very well done.
That's crazy, right? I built that in a day. That's now his website that then caters to pilots because he sent me inspiration. There's a site called Just Go Jets. This is an award, guys, just so you know, this is an award-winning website that has won a lot of awards. And he goes, I want this website. I want something similar to this. Can you build this? And I was like, yeah, I can build that. And this is look at this site, right? This is almost exactly what I built.
Inspired by it. Yeah.
Right? But things like Claude code can go and make the impossible possible. So playing around with AI can literally transform the way you do just about anything in the world now. Because this website is code. That's all it is. It's code. And now I have the best coders in the world at my fingertips, and I don't even need to know how to code to do it. So I built my own CRMs. I built a whole CRM that my whole company uses and has a dialer and has an AI outbound and inbound caller. I just built it. Just about anything you want nowadays. It just takes a little bit of learning. So yeah, highly suggest jumping in Claude. Nothing exists like it. It's very good. And it grows so fast. The race between all of the LLMs, large language models, the race between all of these is wild and it grows so fast I can't even keep up. But just learn one thing, figure it out, and you'll grow a ton. 0 to 1. If you're using ChatGPT, try Claude. It will change everything for you, I promise. And then from there, how do you use it to either raise capital or to analyze what you do? Prompts and different type of prompts. I have the coolest prompts, guys. Let me show you. I'll send it. You guys can have all of my prompts. I have a prompt library for the things that I really love the most. I'm going to show you guys some personal prompts. So I have a board of advisors. I said, hey, I'm thinking of taking FundFlow into the space of being the first and only platform to invest in real estate deals with crypto. What would you suggest I do in the context of FundFlow? So my personal board of advisors, the best entrepreneur to ever live, Elon Musk. So I get info from Elon Musk, Tony Robbins, Mother Teresa, Jesus, Warren Buffett, Steve Schwartzman, Ray Dalio, Kobe Bryant. And each of them gives me what I would do, a story from my life, my core principle on this, and what I suggest you do. And so, for instance, Kobe's, I'd study every player in the space obsessively before I made my move, not to copy them, to find the gap. Every market has a gap. Find it, then attack it with everything you have. Before every playoff series, I watched hundreds of hours of films on my opponent. By the time the series started, I knew their tendencies better than they knew themselves. And so then he's like, spend 2 weeks doing nothing but mapping the competitive landscape. Who is attempting crypto plus real estate right now? What have they built? Where did they fall? What are the users complaining about? Then build FundFlow's crypto features set specifically around those gaps. Don't guess at the market, know it, then go be the best at it, right? That's very Mamba mentality. And then Jesus, the foundation is right before the building goes up. A platform built on hype collapses. The storm hit both equally. What determined survival wasn't the storm, it was the foundation. Crypto markets are volatile. Real estate markets are cyclical. If fund flow's value is only in the novelty of combining them, the first bear market in either kills it. But if the foundation is genuine utility, real deals, real compliance. So it's really cool because I think through a lot of these things now that I wouldn't normally before. When I take notes at church, just take a picture of my notes, right? Here's the picture of my notes at church. And then it goes, here's the sermon, robbing God. Here's the box note. One day we will need God in our finances. Don't let it be the first time you invite him in. Oh, that gets me, right?
Wow.
That's so good.
You could take a picture of your notes. I've done this before, and it reads.
Yeah. And so then now it's like, here's the main points, generational sin. And so like, here's the context, all that stuff. So then now I can go in and so then I love that. And there's so many cool ways to use AI, even just to improve my everyday life.
Devin, this was absolutely incredible, man. I want to make sure that we jump into some specific questions that we ask everyone as we try and wrap this up so we can be respectful of everyone's time. So Devin, I'll go ahead and jump right in. So what is one of the best trips that you've taken?
Oh, this is good. So fun fact, I actually used to be a wedding photographer, and I've photographed weddings in 30 different countries. I've photographed weddings at the Taj Mahal, in Barcelona, in Paris, in Ireland, in everywhere. And so I would say I would say Paris. Paris is everything you think it's going to be. It really is. And so I've been out there a couple of times, and that was a good season of life. During that season of life, and so there was this instance for 1 month. I had a wedding in Colombia, Ireland, Paris, and London. And so we went week. So we had a whole month in those 4 different places. And I ran through each of them. And it was really cool just to like go running and see the culture and see those different things. And so I would say a really cool month. It was a really cool month for me and my wife without kids.
Yes. Experience, being able to explore different things and just experience different things, an authentic experience too. I try to, wherever I go, do what the locals do and just immerse myself and try and stay away from the commercial stuff as much as possible because it energizes me and makes me feel like I'm one with the people. So I love that.
Okay, the next big thing, having all that data. So we're actively working on it right now, having all the data of all the private lenders. And then Chandler can go in and pull data that says, I want all the pilots that work for American Airlines, pull that information. It has their email address, their phone numbers, their LinkedIn. And then from there, he just adds it in. And then there is SEC compliant email campaigns that are automated. So then if somebody responds, it will respond back based off of Chandler's knowledge base that he's uploaded. It will have a conversation and book an appointment for him. So that's our next thing that we're building out. So very excited about that.
Automating those things and just making it turnkey is super exciting. But for those of us who are into raising capital in a compliant way, this sounds like a really exciting thing. In real estate investing space, we talk a lot about financial freedom. Can you tell us, what does financial freedom mean to you?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, what it means is not worrying about finances. I heard Jack Harlow, who's a rapper, the best thing about having money is not worrying about having money. And I think a lot of us have grown up in that space. If you guys know about real estate the last year and having a startup, it's not the most lucrative thing until it actually takes off. So in the beginning, it's a lot of like ramen and figuring that stuff out. And so it comes down to like, is my family taken care of? Is everybody happy? Is all of our needs taken care of? And it's like, we're not having to worry about money. That's what it means for me personally in this season.
Yeah, great answer. The last question, but what does having a wealth mindset mean to you?
I think it means having an abundant subjective term. You know, if you're dealing with people who literally have family offices, they have wealth, and for them, it's preservation. It's not getting there. It's not like, it's already generational. It's just now preserving that wealth. Then for a lot of people, wealth is very subjective, and a lot of times it tends to change. I have something that sets my kids up, having good health, knowing that I could be there for my daughter when she walks down the aisle because I right now feel physically well. That's wealth, abundance. I know that whatever is going on in my life, I think that God is so good, has been to me and continues to be for me. And so I think
Amen to that. Well, Devin, really appreciate you being on, man, and sharing all these great insight, giving us a deep dive. We had an AI. Before we wrap up, tell everyone how they can get in contact with you.
yeah, so I'm on Instagram a lot, Devin.Robinson1 on Instagram, YouTube, Devin Robinson1, X, Devin Robinson. You can find me on there. Yeah, from Paris with love.
Well, thank you so much for
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.